Hello and good morning to everyone. I hope that you're all doing great and taking care of yourself during these complicated times. In today's lecture, I'll be talking about Japanese art. Don't worry, I won't be speaking of every type of art in this country because that would take a lot more than a few minutes. Instead, I'll talk about three types of art that represent a few of the fundamental ways of artistic creation. These are performance, craftsmanship, and drawing. So, without further ado, let's begin today's lecture because I think you'll find it very interesting. First, let's take a look into Kabuki theater. The word kabuki is believed to derive from the verb kabuku, meaning to lean or to be out of the ordinary. Kabuki can be interpreted as avant-garde or bizarre theater. Kabuki was one of the three most popular dramatic performances of Japan, the other two being no drama and puppet theater, also called bunraku. Singers and an orchestra of drums, flutes, wooden clappers, and samisen, which is a string instrument similar to the banjo, accompanied the highly stylized dialogue, lively and often violent action, and captivating dances of kabuki. The plays were all-day entertainments that included lunch and tea. Audiences in the Edo area, which in present day we know as Tokyo, were delighted by these powerful performances, and admiring merchants and artisans became the actors' patrons. Even today, in a culture saturated with entertainment, kabuki continues to flourish. The art form had its origins in comic dances performed in the early 1600s by groups of women on a bank of Kyoto's Kamo River. Kabuki grew into a colorful theatrical art form in both Edo and Osaka. In 1629, the government accused these women of being prostitutes and banned all women for performing the dances. So, male actors had to begin to play both male and female roles. Kabuki actors wore thick makeup designed to express the characters they represented. Red stripes around the cheeks and eyes signified power and youth, and indigo blue signified a negative attribute. Edo's three kabuki theaters, Nakamurasa, Ichimurasa, and Moritasa, were located in different areas of the Low City. In 1842, after a fire had destroyed much of the city, all three theaters were relocated to the Asakusa area near the new pleasure quarter. Theaters housing kabuki performances consisted of a hall with a stage and audience areas. The stage was separated from the audience by a curtain drawn to the sides. Characteristically, a runway connected to the back of the stage passed through the audience. This flowerway, or hanamichi, was given that name because it originally served as a passage for the audience members to present flowers to the actors on stage. By the 1730s, the hanamichi had developed into a supplementary staging area. Signboards featuring Korean programs were hung above the eaves of the theater's central entrances as well. Now, let's move on into origami. Composed of the Japanese words oru, which means to fold, and kami, which means paper, this word literally means fold paper. Origami has a rich and complex history that spans culture, class, and geography. Paper was first invented in China around the 105 AD and was brought to Japan by monks in the 6th century. Handmade paper was a luxury item only available to a few, and paper folding in ancient Japan was strictly for ceremonial purposes, often religious in nature. By the Edo period, paper folding in Japan had become recreational as well as ceremonial, often featuring multiple cuts and folds. It came to be regarded as a new form of art that was enabled by the advent of paper being both mass-produced and more affordable. Written instructions for paper folding first appeared in 1797 with Akisatorito Semebasuru Orikata, or thousand crate folding. In 1845, Adachi Kazuyuki published a more comprehensive compilation of paper folding with Kayaragusa by the late 1800s. The term for paper folding have morphed from orikata, which means folded shapes, to origami. Traditional origami is characterized by an open-access folding patterns and sequences passed down orally or anonymously from generation to generation. Modern origami often features models created by designers. Many of these models are considered copyrightable material or intellectual property. Modern origami often prioritizes a puzzle aspect to the folding and the challenge of folding a simple square of paper without using cuts or glue. Akira Yoshizawa, who died in 2005 at the age of 94, is considered one of the progenitors of modern origami. In the 1930s, he developed a system of folding patterns employing a set of symbols, arrows, and diagrams. By the 1950s, these patterns were published and widely available, contributing to origami's global reach and standardization. Yoshizawa and other origami masters form local and international organizations publishing the art. Today, origami has expanded to incorporate advanced mathematical theories as seen in Between the Folds. Mathematical origami pioneers like Jun Maekawa and Peter Engel designed complex and mathematically based crease patterns prior to folding, which emphasize the puzzle aspect of origami, with the parameters of using one piece of uncut paper. Artistic origami has also enjoyed a recent resurgence, with abstract paper folders such as Paul Jackson and Jean-Claude Correa. Last but not least, let's take a look at manga. In Japanese, the term manga can refer to all kinds of cartooning, comics, and animation, and it is composed of two kanji, men, meaning whimsical or impromptu, and ga, meaning pictures. Outside Japan, manga is used to describe comics only, while anime covers cartoons and animated comics of many kinds. Anime is usually, but not always, the animated version of manga. Although modern manga came to be aimed at an expansion of artistic creativity during the U.S. occupation of Japan between 1945 and 1952, their origins can be traced centuries back. What many believe were the first manga in Japan appeared in the 12th and 13th century in a series of drawing-like frogs and rabbits called Choju Giga, or scrolls of frog-like animals, produced by several artists. In fact, their technique of drawing a character's legs to simulate running was adopted by many mangaka working today. Mangaka being manga makers and comic book artists. During the Edo period, another book of drawings, Toba Ehon, embedded the concept of manga, yet the term itself was first used in 1798 to describe the picture book Shinji no Yukikai, or Four Seasons, by Santo Kyoda. In 1814, it showed up again as the title of Aikawa Mina's Manga Hyakuyo, and the celebrated Hokusai manga books of drawing by the famous ukiyo-e artist. With a long history deeply rooted in the rich Japanese art, manga are one of the most fascinating phenomena in Japan and the whole world. Part of the otaku or nerd culture, these comics have been a major player in the country's publishing industry, creating a robust market reaching millions of readers of all ages and influencing a number of works of comic book art in a variety of other countries. From history and teenage romance to futuristic science fiction and profound themes of life, manga became an important, almost inevitable aspect of Japan's identity, and they helped spread knowledge and understanding of it across the planet. Focusing on creating a unique aesthetic and alluring narratives, they often evolve into anime and even cosplay, remaining a constantly popular within the ever-growing community and collectors. Well, that's all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for listening. Have a nice week. Goodbye. That's all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed and thank you for listening. Have a nice week. Goodbye.